Hello everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel SR Computer Education. Today I am going to share very important tips or some very important points which will help you to score very good marks in your examination. Whether you are writing your degree engineering paper, your diploma engineering, MCA, BCA, any examination. So let's get started. These are the main points which I am going to focus on, and I am sure if you follow these points in your examination, you are going to score very good marks and you will be very confident in writing your examination. First point is, whichever examination you are giving, you should be clear with the question paper format. For diploma engineering students, I had uploaded a video that discussed the question paper format for diploma engineering. You have to go through the syllabus. For example, for diploma engineering syllabus, when you go through the syllabus, in each unit, GTU has decided the weightage or marks given for that unit. Suppose there are 5 units, unit 1, unit 2, 3, 4, 5. Unit 1 carries 10 marks, Unit 2 carries 18 marks, Unit 3 carries some marks. So in the syllabus, it is very clearly mentioned by the syllabus committee about the marks for each unit. So while studying for examination, you have to go through that syllabus weightage of each unit, which will help you to decide where you have to focus more, for which chapter or which unit you have to give more time. Actually, it is not compulsory that every time they are asking the questions or the marks as decided by the syllabus, but in most of the examination, the marks given to the unit are same as the question from each unit in examination. So, go through the syllabus, decide which chapter needs more time and focus on that chapter more compared to other chapters. Second point is, when you get your question paper in the examination, first 5 minutes you have to analyze the paper. What analyze you have to do? I am going to tell that. First 5 minutes you have to go through all the questions. Question 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in case of diploma engineering. So from that 5 question you have to decide which question you are knowing all the answers of that questions properly and you can write that answers properly in the examination. So suppose there are 5 questions, question 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Suppose you decide to write question 4 first. You can write it randomly, question 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's not necessary to go through sequence. That's why I told you analyze the paper and decide which question, main questions you know to write. So suppose you have decided the question 4. So start with question 4. Question 4A, question 4B, question 4C. Whatever questions are given in question 4, main question, you have to complete all that questions. What mistake students make is that, suppose they know the question 4A, but they don't know question 4B. So what they do? They write question 4A first, then they move on to main question 3 and write question 3A first and write question 3A. It is not allowed in the examination. You are not going to get marks if you write question 4A first, then question 3A second. You have to complete all the sub question in main question 4. Okay, so suppose question 4A is there, B is there, C is there and D is there. So write question 4A first, then question 4B, then question 4C and then question 4D. Suppose you don't know question 4C and you know question 4D, then you can leave a space, you can leave some blank pages so that you can write or you can attempt that question afterwards. You can do that. Okay, but please don't write randomly such as question 4a, question 3a. You will not get marks for that questions. So second question was you have to analyze the paper. It is very important. And what the students do, they write the question also. Suppose question 4a is explain this term. What the student do, they write question 4a explain this term, then answer 4a. You don't have to waste your time in writing questions, because if you keep on writing questions, I am sure you will not be able to complete whole paper within 2 hours and 30 minutes. Okay, so you have to directly write answers. For example, you know question 4a, then directly go for answer 4a. Don't write questions. Now students make a mistake here. They don't know how to write answers in examination. So I am going to show you exactly you have to write like this in examination so you can score good marks. What students do, suppose this is your main answer book, page number 1, then main answer book page number 2. Now you have to remember here, in Gujarat Technological University paper, there is a portion at the left side. You don't have to write anything here. If you write anything here, that is not going to be checked because it is used for office purposes. So leave that part blank. What students do, students write here question 4a. This is not right. You will not get marks for that. Anything left side of the margin, you have to leave space here. Okay, so don't write anything the left of the margin. Another mistake that students make is they write like this question answer 4a, then this page is completed. Suppose you move to page number 2, then 3 and 4. Suppose this is page number 4. Okay, and you are writing D. These of answer 4D, you know that, but examiner, after checking your paper, if he moves to 10th page or 11th page, he might not know that it's a 4D or 3D or 2D or 1D. So what he have to do, he have to go back through your supplementary and check. This is not a good habit. It will irritate your examiner and he might cut your marks. So what you have to do, you have to write like this. Answer 4a, and at the center of the page. You have to make sure that you have to write this answer 4a at the center of this page and make a block here with blue pen, with black pen, and highlight it. Okay, suppose after 3 or 4 page you want to write answer 4b, then you have to write like this answer 4b. So when examiner is going to check this, he knows that it's answer B of question 4. Another thing is that students write question 4a. There is no need to write question 4a, directly write answer 4a, because you are not writing question, you are writing answer. I am very much sure this is going to impress an examiner if you write like this. So follow this technique, write like this. Okay, don't write questions. As I discussed in point number 2, you have to directly write answer and you have to write answer number in the center of the page. I will tell you one more problem if you write answer at the left portion. Suppose you write answer 4a here. Now what happens? Students staple this page with your supplementary and half of the portion is stapled. So here this portion is very difficult to read. Again it again it's going to irritate an examiner, and he might get frustrated by paper checking your paper, and if the examiner get frustrated, he might give you less marks. So be very careful. Now the fourth point is total. There are 5 questions in diploma engineering paper. I am talking about diploma engineering question paper here. You can apply all these tips and techniques to any question paper, whether it is a degree engineering, any paper, but right now I am discussing about diploma engineering. So in diploma engineering there are total 15 questions. If you count, there are total 15 questions. Question 2a 3, question 2a, question 3a, question 4a, question 4b, like that. Excluding the question 1, I would strongly recommend to you, if you are a student of diploma engineering, go through my previous video and see what is the question paper format of diploma engineering, so you can understand this fourth point very easily. So as I told, there are 15 total questions. You are having 2 hours and 30 minutes to write examination. Now, when you convert the 2 hours and 30 minutes is actually 150 minutes. You are having 150 minutes to write the whole paper. Suppose there are 15 questions. You know that there are 15 questions. You give 10 minutes to each question, so 150 minutes are over. So you have to remember, do not write any answer more than 10 minutes, except the question 4c, because 4c is of 7 marks and it needs a bit more time. So calculate and manage your time accordingly in such a manner that if you are writing some 3 mark or 4 mark question, and if you are passing 10 minutes, if you are giving more than 10 minutes to that question, then stop there, leave some space, try to complete it after completion of your entire paper at the last 15 or 20 minutes. So give 10 minutes. Now here you are even not having 10 minutes for the question, each question, because question 5 we had excluded and the question 5 is remaining. So again we have to exclude 1 minute or 2 minutes from each question. So you are having maximum 8 minutes for each question, and you can give 12 to 13 minutes to question 4c because it carries 7 marks. So you have to be very careful. That's why I told you in the third step that don't write question. If you keep on writing question, you will be a lack of time for completion of your paper. So I hope this time calculation, managing time while writing the paper, is clear to you. Okay, let's move to point number 5. According to my suggestion, always write question 1 first. I will give you a reason for that. It's not compulsory, it's my suggestion. If you're writing question 4, 5 or anything, that's okay. But why I am saying to write you question 1? Because in question 1 there are 10 questions asked and you have to attempt 7 questions. All these questions are of 2 marks, and the entire diploma engineering question paper starting from question 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5, only question 1 questions need point to point answers. What I mean to say is, mostly in question 1 they ask definitions. They ask what is this, what is this, define this term, define that term. You cannot write long answers for definition. You have to be very specific. So for question 1 it will take time to think what to write, what is the exact definition and what is the exact answer we have to write. For just you have to write just 4 to 5 lines, but you have to be very specific. If you not write this answer according to points, you are not going to get 2 marks. Compared to other question 3 and 4 marks, they are the questions that are asked are such: explain this, explain that. In explanation you can write some 2 or 3 points that are related but not exactly to that question. But this question 1, you have to be very specific. You have to write definition, then you cannot write anything else. Okay, so my suggestion is write question 1 first, because when you write question 1, it's going to take more time, it's going to make is going to take more thought. Okay, so suppose you write this question 1 at last, what will happen? Mainly definition. When you come to your examination hall, you are fresh with your definitions, so you can easily write. Suppose you write at last, maybe possible the paper is difficult, paper is hard, so at last you might not remember the definition. Okay, so my suggestion is write question first. Okay, as I told you in question 2, after analyzing our paper, suppose you think that the question 5 I knows the best from this paper, you can go for writing question 5 also. Why I told you to write the questions that you know first? Because it is going to boost your confidence. Suppose you write question 5 and question 4 first, then you get some confidence that yes, I had already completed 2 questions and I have already done very well. Now, point number 6, draw figures very neatly in examination and with proper labeling. Students, what they do, they draw figures very tidy in such a manner that you even cannot read what is written. Examiner is going to check your diagram or figure first for each answer, because if he knows that this figure is properly drawn, if he knows that this figure is exactly right, he might know that you are going to know the answer also. So what the students do, they do not draw the figures properly, they do not label it, and they write the description part very properly. You are not going to score good marks if you do not draw figures. So draw the figures properly with proper labeling. Student just draw the figure and they do not put any label. Without labeling, figure make no sense. Okay, so draw the figures properly with proper labeling, and you have to remember that when you are labeling, you do not have to make any spelling mistakes. Students, what they do, they draw the figure, they do the labeling, but they do spelling mistakes. So examiner will immediately catch up the spelling mistake, because he checks the figures first and then he checks the theory. Okay, that doesn't mean that you don't have to write theory properly, but what I mean to say it, you have to write the figure and labeling very properly. Then I'm sure you might be knowing the theoretical part also if you are clear with figure. Okay, so do not make any spelling mistakes. Now, seventh point. In seventh point, you have to remember, just as you had made no spelling mistakes in labeling the figure, you have to make no spelling mistakes while writing the main points of answer. Suppose some question is asked, explain this process, and you know that in the process there are 10 points in the process. What students do, they write the 10 points, but they do not write spelling properly for any of the points. So examiner is not going to give you full marks or good marks for that question. If there are 10 points, while studying before examination, you have to make sure that you don't make any spelling mistake. You have to write that spelling properly, so you can write that properly in examination also. So for main points, do not make spelling mistakes. Okay, eighth point is, do not borrow anything in examination hall. What the students do, they borrow stapler, they borrow eraser, they borrow pencil, they borrow pen. It is strictly not allowed in any of the examination, because when you are borrowing anything, if the supervisor of the exam sees you, then she or he might think that you are asking to the other student. So do not borrow anything, do not put any sign of your identity on the question paper, on the answer paper. Okay, what students do, they write some sign, some symbol, so that they might be known to some other person. You do not do this sign or any number or any kind of thing is strictly not allowed in Gujarat Technological University or any other university. Do not write your enrollment number, do not write your college name, do not write your own name. Okay, do not put tick mark in the question paper. What students do, student just after paper is given to them, they start tick marking on the questions that they know. In the second point I told you, analyze for 5 minutes. Here students start ticking the questions that they know properly. Do not do any tick mark, it is considered as a copy case. I will give you the reason what other faculty or other examiner is going to think. Suppose you put a tick mark on question 1a, question 2a, question 3b and 3c. That means examiner will think that you know this question 1a, 2b and 3c, and you are asking, or you want your another classmate who is sitting in front of you or backside of you to tell another answers. So you know only question 1a, you don't know question 1b, so you are ticking on question 1a and telling your student who is another student who is sitting at the backside that I don't know question 1b, you have to tell me. So this is the interpretation that examiner is making. So don't put any kind of tick marks, it is strictly not allowed. Don't put any kind of tick mark with pencil also, with pen also. You have to write only seat number and enrollment number in the question paper. In the answer book you don't have to write anything. Okay, enrollment number and the seat number is hidden in your main answer book with your hollow sticker. Fine. So this was the eighth point. Now you have to be very sure that in last 10 minutes or last 15 minutes you are not going to get extra supplementaries. So if you need extra supplementary, then ask your supervisor before 15 to 20 minutes on safer side, because it is not allowed to give you extra supplementary at last 10 minutes. And before 15 minutes of the completion of the examination, tie up your supplementary and main answer book properly with proper sequence. What students do, they take 4 supplementary and they tie up main answer book and then supplementary number 3, then supplementary number 2, then supplementary number 4. It is not allowed. Examiner is not going to check your paper properly if you do this. So what you have to do, you have to check all the supplementary number, first main answer book, then second supplementary, then third, then 4. So don't be in much hurry in tying up the supplementary. Be careful, if you make mistake here you might fail also. Okay, so this was your 8th point. Now 9th, check the figures and main point before the 10 minutes of the completion of your examination. At the last 10 minutes I would suggest you, I would recommend you, if you have completed the paper, do not go home. What students do, they go home before half an hour, before 15 to 20 minutes. There is no need to go home before 15 minutes. What you have to do, you have to check all the figures in your main answer book. You have to check all the main points. Make sure that you have labeled figure properly. Make sure that you have written all the main points with spelling properly. Okay, and if you are having more time, 10 to 15 minutes, then make this main point bold with black ballpoint, or highlight that. It is not necessary, it is not compulsory. Just do it if you are having time. Otherwise, if you write with blue ballpoint, then also it is okay. And last, check supplementary order. As I told you before, student makes lot of mistake here. They tie up supplementary randomly. Do not do this. I hope these 10 points are going to make difference in your examination writing skill. I am sure this is going to help to score you good marks. So thank you very much for watching my video. I am sure these 10 points are going to help you. If you think this video is helpful to you, it might be helpful to your colleagues, to your classmate, to your family members, to your relative, any student who is going to give examination. These points are very helpful and very useful to them. So I request you to share this video with maximum number of students, with parents also, so they can guide their students how to write examination. Share this video in your WhatsApp group, in your Facebook group, so everybody can write their examination properly, efficiently, and score very good marks. Best of luck for your examination, especially to my diploma engineering students. Their exams are going to be started on 2nd November. Best of luck, do well, write well, follow these steps, and I am sure you are going to score very good marks. Thank you very much. If you had not subscribed to my channel till then, there is a subscribe button at the bottom right corner of your screen. Subscribe to that. I am going to come with such useful and informative video for you and for everyone else. Thank you very much for watching my video. See you soon in next video.